This episode may contain strong language and adult themes. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Hey!
There we go.
Welcome.
You tosser.
Welcome. You see, my friends are lovely to me.
You forgot to fucking record.
No, nobody knows who you are, Jules, because you're not on the screen at the moment. But welcome, everybody, to tonight's 22 Dropouts, where my good friend has rescued me once again. Shame he didn't do it last week, but thank you, Julian. I need to toast you for that. Thank you for rescuing me, because last week you may remember that I forgot to record everything that we were doing for the first 15 minutes.
Another hour-long show with you guys. No.
And it was quite funny, to say the least. So, Jules, thank you very much. Otherwise, we'd have had to go down the route that we did last week. We've got Tom with us tonight as well. Hello, Tom. And tonight we're also joined by Neil and young Riley over there. Now, of course, Riley can't swear. He can't drink, and he can't vote, and he can't ride a motorbike yet. He can have a Diet Coke, and he can behave himself. But his dad, on the other hand, can do whatever the hell he likes. And because his dad's there, there's no safeguarding issue. How you doing, mate?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Tired, but
Thirsty? Are you thirsty?
funny.
Now, Riley, last time we had you on a video chat, I think it was because we were doing a briefing for a tournament. And your mum walked in the room and slapped you around the head, didn't she?
Yeah.
Can you tell us why?
Because I left clothes on the bathroom floor.
For how long? It wasn't just because you left clothes on the bathroom floor.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks of laundry on the bathroom floor. When you walk out of Riley's bathroom, in front of you, before you get to his bedroom, is what?
To be fair, it's about a step dialogue.
I would guess it's a washing basket.
Yeah.
So I have a 16-year-old stepson who doesn't have his own bathroom. Christ alone knows what would happen if he did. Now, he walks into the bathroom, he takes his boxers off, and he leaves them that far away from the washing basket. But he leaves them. And out of principle, I am not fucking picking them up.
In the washing basket. I have a 14-year-old son who does put his stuff in the washing basket and even helps with the laundry at times.
Oh, I wish. Listen, my kids have always had to, but
violence works.
I'm not allowed to make my stepchildren do that. No, that's not allowed. That's against the rules.
My son wants to find ways to make money so he can pay for video games. So
okay, I thought you just said your son wants to be a domestic servant. That was all.
We used to have a different encouragement.
to be honest, yeah, that'll suit him quite well.
We used to have a different encouragement, which was at a touch of a button, I could turn Riley's phone off.
Oh. Have you ever done this? Have you ever done this?
Better than cash.
It was hell.
Oh yeah. Have you ever done this though? When they refuse to turn their Xbox off late at night at daft o'clock, and they start playing up, and then as soon as you turn it off, you go back out the room, and then they turn it back on again. So I went in, I unplugged it, I got a pair of paramedic shears and cut all the fucking plugs off. Now try and start it up.
Jesus.
He went to sleep after that. It worked. Anyway, hello, Riley.
Hello.
I know we're taking the mickey out of you, but that's what you're there for. Okay, it's as simple as that. But we are going to have a chat with Riley and his daddy Neil, because Daddy is the chauffeur and photographer for Sevens referee at the moment. In fact, we need a chauffeur to take 4 people up to Scarborough this weekend. How are you fixed?
Good luck with that.
Yeah, okay. So I just need the seats down in my car. Anyway, listen, before we go on, this is breaking news because just before we went on air, actually, just before Julian reminded me to press record, to be fair, there was a statement released from World Rugby, which is regarding a disciplinary hearing, a misconduct hearing for Rassie Erasmus and South Africa Rugby following the comments that he's made online about the match officials in the first test. But basically, I think that was his interview for X Factor, but he just posted it on the wrong forum. The official statement reads: South Africa Director of Rugby Rassie Erasmus and SA Rugby will face an independent misconduct hearing for comments regarding match official performance during the test series between South Africa and the British and Irish Lions. Match officials are the backbone of the sport, and without them, there is no game. World Rugby condemns any public criticism of their selection, performance, or integrity which undermines their role. The well-established and trust-based coach officials feedback process, and more importantly, the values that are at the heart of the sport, however, the extensive and direct nature of the comments made by Rassie Erasmus within a video address, in particular, meets the threshold to be considered a breach of World Rugby Regulation 18 for misconduct and code of conduct, and will now be considered by an independent disciplinary panel. The date and panel will be confirmed in due course, probably when they've had the 3 fucking tests, knowing them. World Rugby has reminded the management of both teams of the importance of this area and their obligations regarding the values of the sport. In order to protect the integrity of the sport and its values, World Rugby will also undertake a review of its code of conduct relating to incidents of this nature with a view to strengthening scope, rules and sanctions. As with any test series, South Africa versus the British Irish Lions is a showcase of rugby that generates great excitement and interest. Even more so at this challenging time for sport and society. It is an opportunity for both teams and their management to set a positive example and concentrate on the spectacle and a wonderful example of rugby and its values at their best. So what they're saying is, because everybody else has gone online on social media and given Rassie the water boy some shit, and Australia Rugby Union has backed their man, World Rugby's decided that it's time to do something about it instead of being proactive. Well, rugby, sort your shit out. You should have been all over this within 24 hours of it happening. What say you, Tom?
All I say is that you couldn't have made that any more fucking boring, Mike, by reading it out so they can read themselves. But, cheers for that.
Well, I could just put it on the screen and you lot could fucking read it, but that would be even more boring. I'd have to play some incidental music like they used to do on BBC Two.
Yeah, no, I think it's good they're actually getting to look into it now. It's about time. Bit of a slow reaction, really. When Rugby Australia had to release a statement before World Rugby, I think that's a really poor show of form. Considering they're having to back their own referee, who first and foremost, yes, is an Australian referee, but at that time he's representing World Rugby. So they should be the ones to actually come out there first, but they've been a bit slow out of the blocks. But it's definitely something that needs to be done about it. It sets an awful precedent if it's allowed to continue. And as much as many South African fans will say that it's a great thing that he's bringing it up, I'm sure if Warren Gatland had done the same thing that was the other way around, they wouldn't be best too pleased.
No, you're right. You're
I
absolutely
think
right.
It's certainly something that needs to be nipped in the bud before it sets quite a dangerous precedent, not just for a professional game, but for the grassroots game also. And it's something that rugby obviously has prided itself on for many years. And I think if we let this slide, it's a poor precedent that gets set.
I absolutely agree with you 100%. And moreover, I think it's really poor form from Rassie. That is the archetypal mind game. Just an hour long. It didn't need it. We can all analyze and go back. But did he really analyze and send an hours long message to all his players for how poorly they played in that first test? I don't know. Did it get under the skin of the officials? I mean, let's talk about some of the decisions on Saturday in the second test. And all the way from Malta, we've had this from Sam Ramage, who sent this by email today. If you're talking about the Lions match tonight, they were well beaten in the second half. I don't think that the fullback and window, he means winger, he did correct himself later on, from Scotland will start the test match. If that even on the bench, I think he means even if on the bench. And the centre and scrum half will probably start. In regards to the officials, I think they did a really good job under the circumstances, especially after that 1 hour long YouTube video from the director of rugby from South Africa with 26 video clips about refereeing decisions. Now, yeah, let's take his points in turn. I think there was some really poor performances at the weekend. I think some people have been dyeing their hair too much instead of doing catching practice, to be fair. There's one or two who have lost the fundamentals of rugby in that game.
And it was like watching, to be honest, it was like watching a game in the 80s.
Well, it wasn't, because in the 80s they'd have all just piled in, and instead of everybody shoving the collars and grabbing each other after, and we'll talk about this later, there would have been they'd have been fists going, they'd have grabbed hair and slammed the face down on knees. It would have been a proper fight. The fights that Tom and Riley could never understand, but Julian, Neil, and
Mike, can I just say I can well and truly understand. I do now referee rugby in Gloucestershire. And those fights occur on a weekly basis, as Mr. Parsons will testify when he finally gets on the show next week.
Yeah, no, Mr. Parsons, Mr. Harry Parsons, who was supposed to come onto our show 2 weeks ago and cried off and said, "No, can I know it's an inconvenience, but can I come on the 2nd of August?" Cried off again yesterday because he wants to go out with his mate. So Harry, you're just gonna have to fucking fit in around us now, man.
Mike, he's one mate, yeah.
Yeah, he only has one. Well, he has two sort of, but one sat there called Tom, and he said, "Fuck off, Harry. I've got to go and do a show because I'm committed to this. I've never missed a week yet."
No, not at all.
Isn't that right, mate?
Oh,
so
100%.
listen, let's just have a think about that. We'll come on to the refereeing decisions in part two, but Lions' performance, Julian, what would you make of that? I mean, you've just sort of agreed with.
I thought the South Africans slowed the ball down brilliantly, legally, and the Lions couldn't get that pace on the game to wear the South Africans out like they did in the first test. We wore them out in the first 40 minutes, and then ran rings around them in the second with the fitness, and we couldn't do it in the second test. They just
did you think we were a bit one-dimensional?
Yeah, it was just they had nothing extra. When the plan A didn't work, they didn't have a plan B or a plan C to go back on. It was just they kept trying the same thing and it wasn't working. And the Sappers just had them. They had us. They just everything we tried, they had a counter for it.
It's almost like World Cup final again, isn't it? It doesn't matter what we tried; they just slowed it down and did their shit.
They played their game. They played to their strengths and they beat us fair and square. Done.
What did you think of it, Neil?
It's going to be very.
They were in our heads in the first 2 minutes, and that I think that shook us. In the first 2 minutes, you had what would have developed into something interesting in our day, but we were inside our heads. That was it. And I think going back on the all the noise around the analysis from Rassie Erasmus and frankly all the social media that had built up around it. I mean, I think it's done the game a huge disservice, and it started normally jovial comments between fans on social media, and the stuff I've read is in some cases just it's nothing to do with our sport. And I think all of that and then the mind games in the first couple of minutes got inside our heads. I think you're right, Julian. They slowed the ball down, they read our game, and yeah, we just weren't good enough.
Riley, what did you make of it?
Well, yeah, the first
you couldn't watch it.
Van der Merwe just lost his shit from the first minute, and then just got yellow carded, and I don't think he should have come back on.
Fair enough. Well, listen, before we go for a break, we've just got a message for Rassie Erasmus, and that is, Rassie, you're a
big
Oh.
There you go. And on that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
When When you need clear and concise match official communication systems, look no further than the brand new AXIWE AT350.
Radios are they're always useful, they always help us, especially the AXIWEs, where all three of us can be open at any time, we can have open communication.
Available now from refcomsglobal.net. Investing profits into match official development worldwide.
Welcome back to part 2 of tonight's 22 Dropouts, where we have been, we won't be for much longer, I promise you, discussing all things to do with the Lions. Now, there is a new tradition, a new game show. We don't have a jingle yet. In fact, we don't have a fucking jingle for anything, Julian, because you haven't sorted out with your brother yet.
I'll speak to my brother on Thursday because it's my mum's birthday, so we'll be doing a Zoom with him.
Great news. And how long will it take after that?
About 6 months.
Okay. I just want to be realistic. That's all. I just want to know. Now, for those of you who watched last week's show, you will have seen the real-time data from our live stopwatch on your screen for our new challenge, which is Tom Needs a Pint. So Tom hasn't watched it yet, so he doesn't know what the fuck I've done. So if you watch this, you'll know what I'm talking about if you watched last week. So Tom, the challenge, of course, is that you have got to leave your bedroom, run downstairs, get a pint, and come back up in the shortest time possible. Now, bear in mind that when that happened last time, you did shut your door afterwards, which is great. But when faced with the challenge from Jeff the ref, he managed to open his and take a swig at least a minute and a half quicker than you did. So
that's
I'm
because
going to
you
show
went back and the beer was in the fridge behind it.
Right, I am showing the stopwatch here because I don't want to do it in post-production because it takes fucking ages. So if you're ready, Tom, for the challenge of go and get a beer, it's 3, 2. Don't you anticipate it, sunshine?
Go on, prepared
One,
already.
go!
Now we talk about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh look, he's taken a little while actually. He took a while to get the door open there. I think he might have been lapped by Michael Schumacher's son.
Just need to add some Ben Hill music in now and it'd be perfect.
No, you see, I did that ages ago. I put the Benny Hill music in something and we got a fucking copyright complaint from YouTube. So what we can all do is sing it and then we don't get the complaint.
You know, you do a managers meeting at Sevens tournaments before they turn up to get all the team managers in there, and you get the referee and manager in there, and you have a quick meeting at the start. The one thing that came up was
he's back! He's back! He shut the door! Let's see when he sits down. And we're stopping the timer. Look at that. 42 seconds dead.
Hang on.
Tom,
Cheers.
you have just set a new 22 dropouts record for getting a beer.
Brilliant.
Well, sorry, Riley.
Now, can you drink it
beats it.
quicker than 42 seconds?
Is it a competition?
Okay, we can hang on 2 seconds. We can do a competition now. Bearing in mind, however, that Tom has to go down 2 flights of stairs to get to his beer fridge.
Well, we can simulate that. Riley has to go up to his bedroom, which is 2 flights of stairs.
No, that's up.
And come back down again. Get the beer that's in the beer fridge in the den next door, and then come back in.
Or I go up a flight of stairs.
No. Tom has 2 flights of stairs because he's got to go down and up again.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Riley, if you're ready for the challenge, no, don't you anticipate it either, Sunshine. Tuck your knees back under the desk. 3, 2, 1, go!
Did he fight somebody then? Did he do a Sigler?
Did he bite you then? We'll talk about biting in a minute.
No, let's do it in a
He's
sync.
English boys, he's fighting everybody.
Now, has he gone the right way, or is he just waiting outside because he's gone straight to the den?
I don't think he went anywhere near the top of the stairs, frankly.
Do you not?
No.
I think he's going to have a
Fuck
fine.
off, did you go up both flights of stairs?
Mate, there is no way in 24.1 seconds you've gone up 2 flights of stairs, down 2 flights of stairs, gone to... Right. Are you on your phone or your dad's computer?
My computer.
I can film it.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Hang on. No, you do it on mine, and we can have it in real time. Hang on.
Are you going to put Zoom on?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Well,
I'm
just
gonna
gonna
connect
go
on
move
my
the
phone.
dog.
Hang on. You've got to wait until Neil sets the Zoom on his phone, and I let him in. And let's make the dog trip him up.
The dog is more like to savage him.
That's what
Oh,
I
Ace.
to the room.
Right, Neil, turn your camera on to your phone. Right, so here we go. I'm just going to put. Right, Riley, don't you dare, Riley. Riley. 3, 2, 1,
Can I
go.
close my door?
Here he goes now. Up the... Oh, who's that? Random gamer.
It would be even more hilarious if somebody naked walked out of a bathroom when he went past.
Mate, 0.2 of a second slower.
Nailed it.
Fair play, Riley.
Fair play.
Now. Oh, you didn't.
Now, who says we don't fill this show with shit? Because we just prove we do. Anyway, talking of shit, there was a few bit of shit in the Lions game this weekend, and they've been debated ad nauseum on social media and by the pundits. But crying out loud, we talked about TMO decisions last week, but who can say that Cheslin Colby's attempted tackle or go for the ball in the air led to the player landing on his back?
He landed on his face.
Yeah, so look, for me, I had this debate with a couple of referees, and the law says the bit that hits the floor first. Now, his foot did hit the floor first, but he was still overbalanced. So for me, I would take that out of the equation and say it's still incredibly dangerous. Move the arm out of the way. That guy is going to land on his chin. It's a red card all day long. And that could have been, to be honest, Colby could have gone several times during that game. Just on that one thing alone, though, let's go round the room since we're all referees. Riley, where do you stand on that? Given the actual facts of what you saw and all the replays, what would your punishment be?
Oh, a red, because he didn't. It's not like he went up to the ball at all. The only reason he hasn't landed straight on his face is because he's had that arm out. TMO don't know how they said he's had his back because he's facing the floor, and yeah, I think he should have got a red.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Neil?
Red all the way. I'm just watching it again on here.
Oh, I thought you might be.
And the only reason his head doesn't hit the floor first is because he's tried to break his fall with his arm.
Yeah, I mean, his foot does, even before his arm, his foot genuinely does touch the ground first, but that's in no way going to stop any of the danger.
Yeah, actually, in Riley's defense, it's because he's holding on to it.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Tom, what's your thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, it was a red card. I mean, we were sat after the Cheltenham Sevens with a bunch of referees. All of us said that it was a red card. You take away any of those factors, and if you treat it the same way as you treat a high tackle, you take some of those factors out of that equation. If someone's prevented themselves from being injured, well, that's not the fault of the ball carrier. That the tackler themselves is still the person that's got high levels of danger. And I think that's the overriding issue. And the biggest problem with the decision given was that he said he landed on his back when I don't think his back
Clearly it wasn't
the ground until he rolled over.
Can I just share my screen very quickly?
You can share your screen. We might have a problem with World Rugby. But yes, by all means, share your screen. Let me just give you
a little credit in the bottom and in the description on YouTube to say.
Well, advertise his Castle Lager if that helps.
Yeah, I mean, I do have permission from World Rugby, but not necessarily from the broadcaster. So yeah, go ahead, Neil.
Right. Can you see it?
We can indeed. Yeah, I mean, his foot. If you went back half a second, his foot does touch first, but while he's still in the air. But it's incredibly dangerous, and he's very lucky not to have quite a serious injury there. Julian, Do you disagree with anything?
No, red card every day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for that, Chesley, you are this week's
Big cock.
and the TMO who said he's landed on his back is this week's second
Big cock.
There's a few of those this week, isn't there? Now, Van der Merwe, anybody? Yeah, I mean, he. There was a report in the paper, I think it was from Nigel Owens, that originally on commentary. And of course, Nigel has to be very, very careful in what he says and how he says it. And the way he sort of described Colby as being very lucky. He's incredibly diplomatic, and I like him for it. He gives a unique insight without degrading the view of a match official. But he did say that Van der Merwe looked as though he might have been going for the ball. No, the ball was in his hands. He was never going for the ball. It was just one of those things. It was a reaction. It's a bad reaction. And he went to trip him up. He got a yellow for it. End of story. Absolutely nailed on. No way would that have been anything less or anything more, obviously.
I would have flavoured that orange rather than yellow, but it was not red.
Do you reckon that's halfway to a red, that trip?
Halfway to a red there. He was close. Any more power in it, he could have broken his leg.
Yeah, no, there is that. I'm saying if that was close to the line, maybe last defender, or he's one of the last defenders, and he sticks a leg out, then yeah, you could be looking at that. But don't forget,
you still got the same decision with him, but then you give the penalty try at that point, so there'd be an extra bonus.
I mean, don't forget,
not bonus, but
yeah, on the trip though, it's not the outcome that decides. So, and this is the difference, isn't it, with that Chesley Colby thing? The landing of the guy who is tackled in the air, that determines the sanction. It's the only time that the outcome determines the sanction. Everything else, it's what you do. It's cause rather than effect. So yeah, I think Yellen was the right one there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think as well, it's important to note, Mike, that addition makes 4 South African big cocks this week.
You know. So, do you want to name another South African?
Well, we've already got Colby should have had a red. Got Rassi for the video, the TMO who is also South African, and now Van der Merwe who is also South African himself, really. Scottish.
So what you're saying is South Africans fucked up the weekend.
Yes.
And on that bombshell, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. Are you ready, Riley?
22 dropouts where Riley's fucking up for all of us.
Come back to fuck off, you twat.
Riley, what's your line?
My line. Welcome back to part 3 of tonight's 22 dropouts. I'm Riley.
And I'm his long-suffering dad. Don't forget to check out our social media on @22dropouts.
Hey!
Big cocks.
Big cock.
Yes, thank you, boys. Welcome back to part 3 tonight. I can get rid of this, Neely, which is all the shit about the British and Irish Lions this week. But not before we talk about rookie referees. because of course Riley was a rookie referee not long ago, and Julian, we'll come on to Riley in a minute, and Riley's little story before we put his dad on the spot. Jules, you had some rookies this weekend.
I did. We had the Swedish national sevens this weekend, men's and women's. The women's was down south. I wasn't involved in that. I was handed that over to somebody else to run. But I ran the referees up at the men's, and we had a couple of new referees, young lads, who then had their first experience of going out on a referee's night out on the first night out of the tournament. They had a bit of a court session without me there because I'd gone home with the kids. And yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I went home. Sorry. I was being a responsible parent for a change.
Julian, what's in your glass?
Yeah, right. Fuck it. Yeah.
That's not enough. Next time there's another fine for that, mate. You failed to make court. You should be sent to prison immediately.
So I would have actually got out of drinking anyway, because I normally do, because I'm not stupid. The one thing on the referees, I'm not going to name him, Oscar, was hit on by a young lady. Well, as I say, young lady, she was 36-year-old mother of 4. He's 20. He was like a.
Sounds right up Pete Street, that does.
He just froze. He was like, I don't know what to do. How do I get rid of her? And at one point, she hands all over him. She licked his face. And the Swedish word for lick is slick. So he now has a brand new nickname, and everybody loves it. And every time we call him it, he's like, oh, God. So he's just going to get even better now.
Fantastic.
I think Pete's just joined us at the most opportune moment. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. You?
Yeah, clearly busy in the pub tonight.
Let's get away.
Oh, we're having another journey around Pete's pub.
Guys,
we
how are
might
you,
go
right?
to his cellar again. Now, if you want,
You guys all right?
We're very good, mate. And if you want a proper journey around Pete's pub, wait until next week's episode, because we're all staying at Pete's pub this weekend, and we're going to do a behind the scenes from Pete's pub. We might even do a live show if I can be bothered to take the cameraman with me, but I'm not sure I've got enough seats.
I can't go.
Oh. Mate, look at that. You've got nice weather, dude.
And the flight was supposed to leave at 3 in the afternoon over Wednesday.
There you are.
When we get to the airport, I'll go back to the airport.
I don't even lock my car.
Even got your car. You need to shut your windows before it rains, mate. You do live in Yorkshire.
It looks like he needs to watch me.
Do you know, yesterday I was organising all the boys. I didn't realise just how far north of Scarborough you are. Thought it was like next door.
Whitby.
I've got quite
Only 20 minutes.
Journey. And
It's only 20 minutes.
Just pan around a little bit, mate, and there's a good. Then the sign's just behind you, and it's a good advert for your pub. Oh no, he's moved too far away from his Wi-Fi, and now it doesn't work. So don't you love technology? So yeah, Jules. Pete's Wi-Fi has just turned into a.
No, I had to switch from pub Wi-Fi to my dog and ferret one.
Dog and ferret Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Is that because the dog and the ferret are going around on those little wheels to save the Yorkshireman a bit of money?
No, because the ex-landlord decided to have a fight with me because my my dog sniffed his ferret.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't remember that, but I want to know about it now.
That only happens in Yorkshire.
15 hours I spent in the cells.
Yeah.
Because I fucking beat him up. In fact, I got found not guilty.
Well, talking of not guilty, have a look at this, because this is Judge Spongy at the weekend at the Cheltenham Sevens Court Festival. Good old Spongy. Good old Spongy. Rookie referees. Hello, Riley. Now, I'm going to ask your dad to talk about you as a rookie referee, and I'm hoping Neil, behave now, mate, behave. I'm hoping he's going to tell the same story that he told me, because for those of you who don't know, Riley was introduced to us by the guys from the UR7s this year. And they said, listen, we've seen this young guy, and are you interested in helping him and getting him to a few festivals? And we said, yeah, of course, no problem. To us, it's attitude that's more important than ability. We're quite happy to take a look at him. And that was, well, it feels like 3 years ago, but actually, Neil, it's only about 3 months ago, isn't it?
It was May, Mike. It was May.
Yeah.
It was May.
And what happened? What happened since then?
Yeah, no. So being 16, he'd had no opportunities outside of the club. So when we got the call from the guys at UR7 saying, you know, can we hook you up with Sevens refs? It was a yes all the way. And since then, all I can say is, and I'm not in the same room as you at the moment, Mike. So obviously you can't influence what I'm going to say, which is marvelous. But no, I mean, it's been support all the way, you know, from yourself and Tom and the rest of the team. You know, I've watched his refereeing come on leaps and bounds from, you know, someone who, you know, done a few juniors games and was keen to someone who can now take on, you know, games at, you know, a pretty good level. And the support you guys have shown has been, you know, second to none.
But it's good to hear, because that's what we want to do. Is, you know, we were quite happy and we didn't know what we were going to get. And trust me, as Tom will testify, we've had all sorts in May and June, and some have stayed with us, like Riley, and been encouraged to keep going. Some we've said goodbye to after 1 or 2 visits to us, because, you know, for Sevens referee, it's more about attitude than ability. If you want to learn, if you want to take the learning points on board, and you try hard to take them and improve, then we can't ask any more. It's those guys that we want to work with. And Riley showed all of those characteristics of somebody who wants to get better and who wants to do well. So Riley, you can be, as far as I'm concerned, you can be justifiably proud of the journey you've come on since May. All I'd say to you now is don't fuck it up.
Well, Riley, this is the first I've heard about you now. So apparently it sounds like you're pretty good. You any good in the middle? Oh, these guys only keep touch.
Oh no, he's been in the middle pretty much all the time, mate.
Well, we've got the youth nationals in September here in Sweden, in the middle of the end of Sweden, under 18s, under 17s, all the way down to under 8s. And we'll probably need a few extra refs. So give me a call.
There you go, mate.
There you go. I'm up for it.
I can get you on an exchange out there. I'm a member of the Swedish Referee Society.
Single by that game, by the way.
Now, before we go, because we're going to run out of time tonight, because we've talked too much about that shit fucking game at the weekend. It is time for tonight's This or That quiz. Now, because of Riley's age, we can't do the This or That quiz with him. So it's going to fall to his father, Neil. Now, Neil, it's entirely up to you whether Riley stays, because you are his safeguarding manager. A, because you're his dad, B, because we've just decided and we don't want to take responsibility for him, or you can just make him spend the next 4 minutes going and getting you a beer. But what we've got,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's staying, I guess. But what we've got is a series of questions that are A or B answers. So your favorite color may well be yellow, but if I said you prefer red or blue, your answer would be?
Blue.
Right, okay. You need to be a bit quicker, but good try. It's a timed quiz, isn't it, Tom? We have Tom's going to put 90 seconds on the clock.
How many questions?
It's as many as you can get through in 90 seconds, man.
Yeah, because it's very strict on the 90 seconds, isn't it, Mike? Very strict.
Yeah. Bacon sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, Neil, father of Riley, photographer extraordinaire, and general chauffeur and dog's body when he goes on to tournaments. Are you ready for tonight's This or That quiz?
I am ready, Michael.
Okay. Tom, with 90 seconds on the clock, can you give us a countdown, please.
3, 2, 1, go.
Neil, sauna or ice bath?
Oh, sauna.
Fish or chips?
Chips.
Ketchup or brown sauce?
Ketchup.
Netflix or Amazon?
Oh, Netflix.
TikTok or Tinder?
Oh, TikTok.
Cardio or weights?
Cardio.
Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Golf or gym?
Gym.
Flip-flops or sliders?
Flip-flops. Don't stop.
Oxfords or brogues?
Oxfords.
Blondes or brunettes?
Blonde.
Boobs or bum?
Not boobs.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Ale or lager?
Cider.
Ale or lager?
Ale.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Calvin Klein's or oddballs?
Oddballs, of course.
7s or 15s?
7s.
Ibiza tunes or madness?
Madness.
We're going to change paper now. Chauffeur or beer time?
Chauffeur or what?
Beer.
Beer. Beer.
Pass the ball or run with it?
Run with it.
And bacon sandwich or sausage sandwich?
Bacon.
Oh, just in time. Mate.
Perfectly time it every single week,
Mate, that was really good timing.
Don't know how
Was
we
that
do
precisely 90 seconds, Tom?
Precisely.
really?
Stopwatch has disappeared, but it's precisely.
Fantastic.
By the time I edit this, it'll be fucking 90 seconds on the dot, I promise you. So let's have a look at your answers, because we can learn a lot about a gentleman from these. Clearly you went for a sauna because you're not a masochist, so you're not going to go for ice bath. It's only the idiots or those who live in tropical countries who do that. Chips and, okay, so I guess it's chips and ketchup then.
Oh, very much.
Okay. Of course you've gone for Netflix because Amazon, apart from Jeremy Clarkson shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a bit surprised you went for TikTok, mate, that you know what the fuck it is.
I know what TikTok is. I also know what Tinder is, and I'm not going to admit to Tinder in this house.
Okay. We'll move on then. Cardio, not weights. Yeah, I can understand that. And Xbox or PlayStation, I don't know the fucking difference, so I'll just go with whatever you said.
I have no games for an Xbox. That's the difference.
Okay, I just have no games, so it doesn't matter. Gym rather than golf. Yeah, I'm with you there, mate. I've had a gym membership for the last 10 years as well and never been in a gym, so well done. Now, of course, you've gone for flip-flops. It's the law, but we do have an amendment to that law because there's always an exception to a rule. If you're at a sevens tournament, shut the fuck up, you lot. I'm not going to say Crocs. If you're at a sevens tournament and you need to just release the pressure on your feet and you don't want to take off 2 pairs of socks, sliders and socks is permissible, but after the tournament, it's not.
Socks off. Don't be so fucking lazy, Mike.
We don't get as much time off in a sevens tournament as you do, so shut up. By the time I take my socks off, it's time to put the bloody things back on again.
Don't take them off then.
No, I don't take them off. That's why I use sliders. Thank you. Oxfords, obviously, because you're a gentleman and a man of class and distinction. Now, you did have to think about blondes, but you didn't think much about boobs, did you?
My darling wife is a brunette. Historically, my type was blondes.
I've got to say, historically, historically, including my first wife, was brunette. And my current wife is a brunette but dyes her hair blonde. So there you go. And if I couldn't choose between boobs and bum because my wife's got fucking ace ones of each. So there you go. Pancakes or waffles?
On the pancakes, you went boobs straight away and pancakes straight away. Is there a correlation between those two?
Yeah, very much so. I was still on the same thread there, Julian. I have no determination. I have no discrimination. It's just.
And Phil will hate you because you've gone for coconut Pepsi, but it is a personal choice. And of course, I'm surprised you. Obviously, you've gone for ale because you're not a lager man. I can tell because you've got a beard and bald head. You can't drink lager. I know you like cider, but that wasn't a choice.
Should be a choice.
It is the
But
right
I was quite surprised that you went for tea and not coffee, because you are the latte and macchiato man.
I'm the only one who's got the balls to walk into a rugby club and ask for a macchiato and a latte.
It's a latte. You're from Surrey.
Latte.
It's a
Depends what-
latte.
Listen,
latte,
mate, if I'm going in to get you a latte, whatever I call it.
Now, tell me, how many rugby clubs have you been in where you didn't want to ask for a latte, who actually went, yeah, okay?
Well, everyone I've been in ever wouldn't want to ask for it. Only the ones I seem to go to with Sevens refs have the posh machines. So I'm
It's
not
the
entirely
way we
sure
roll.
the correlation between Sevens refs and Ponzi coffee, but
And posh coffee. Sevens ref,
No,
posh
when you were in
coffee,
the sevens
posh
over
rugby
15
club.
for the coffee.
No,
That's
I
why you
know,
took sevens
listen.
over 15, just for the coffee.
Now, Neil, I know a
I
man.
think, in fact, Mike, we need to get onto this. I think there's something to be had here. Coffee brands could be.
Well,
our
listen,
next
there are so
sponsorship.
many rugby players who've tried this and fallen flat on the face, and they've got more disposable cash than we have.
No, to sponsor us. We'll go and ask for a latte in your rugby club if you.
Now, I do know a man. I know a man who provides rugby clubs with posh coffee machines. I'm going to put him in touch with you for Chobham Rugby Club, because I think Chobham Rugby Club deserves a posh latte machine.
we have, oh, hang on. We have, from the new season, we have not just a posh coffee machine, but we have a horse box converted to a barista station, darling. It's Surrey.
So, Neil,
Mike, as you're plugging coffee, I'm going to go throw these ones in there. It's a coffee blend from Uganda, and it is purchasing coffee from them for Rugby Tackling Life, and it's helping women playing rugby in Uganda to get things like sports bras and stuff like that. So
just give another shout out to that, mate.
Yeah, but a thing in from Uganda, Rugby Tackling Life. Helen over there, who's very big in Uganda with the rugby union there. She sells coffee to some of the girls for the girls to make money to help women's rugby out there and to help women through rugby to help their challenges in life over there.
Obviously you went for oddballs, not Calvin Klein's. Of course you did. Don't forget to use Harry Groves 15 if you want 15% off your next oddballs order. You've clearly gone for sevens. Doesn't matter what you were used to. You love sevens now because you're part of the family. I'm glad you went for Madness, not Ibiza tunes. It just proves my playlist is the bomb whenever we go. Isn't it funny though? Wherever we go, we've got the best DJ sounds out the whole tournament, the whole festival. We have the best tunes and we have the biggest PA system.
But what
now it's even bigger.
We've got an even bigger one now. We've got the new speakers are about 10 times more powerful than the old ones.
Oh, fantastic.
We can't use them in Scarborough because they've got a problem with their neighbours.
Fuck 'em.
Fuck 'em, yeah. Hey, everybody who's a resident near Scarborough Rugby Club, plug your ears. It's going to be fun this Saturday. Obviously, you'd prefer to have a beer than to chauffeur Riley around.
Absolutely.
Which is why we listen. We've gone way over time, but I don't care. Riley, just the last time that you came out with us and you stayed away, and Daddy and everybody else took you to a local watering hole. And what did that watering hole make you drink?
Well, Tom made me drink way too much woo-woo.
What did the watering hole make you drink?
They made you drink Diet Coke all night long, didn't they?
Oh, that one, yeah.
I'm going to repeat that question because your daddy doesn't want that on his criminal record. Right? So, the last time you came on tour with us, and we obviously went out for the evening, and fair play to the pub, what did they make you drink all night?
Diet Coke.
Good. Because there's no way you'd do anything other than that, would you, at your age?
Oh, no, God, no.
Good. Good
You're
lad.
an athlete,
So, Neil, you'd rather run with the ball than pass it? What position did you used to play?
At school, can you believe this? I was second row.
No, I don't believe that one little bit.
Funny enough, a guy I met up with at the 6-way sevens was the guy I used to play alongside.
No,
it was. I haven't seen him for 35 years. So another one, sevens referee bringing the world together.
There you go. Hashtag bringing the world together. Hashtag you heard it here first.
He hasn't grown since he was 7.
No. And at college, I played scrum half because I didn't grow after that. So I was the shortest.
Yeah, you see, the difference between me and you is I never grew at all.
No.
So it didn't work. And of course, just in time, you'd rather have a bacon sandwich than a sausage sandwich. Amen, brother. So say all of us. Mm-hmm. So I think tonight you pretty much passed the test. There's a few you got wrong. It's not a democracy. So, but I think on the balance of things, you've got most of them right now. And I'm rushing a little bit because we have gone so far over time. We've got another little quiz for you. Now, this is based upon the game show Snog, Marry or Avoid. In fact, it's not based on it at all. It is Snog, Marry or Avoid. And what we want you to do is to choose from our panelists tonight, not us three, obviously, which one you would snog, marry, or avoid. And we've got a list for you. And that list is based upon the naughty boys from the Saturday's game with the Lions and South Africa. Okay, so in your own time, but don't take too long, please. Out of Duhan van der Merwe, Cheslin Colby, or Faf de Klerk, who all should have had bigger sanctions potentially, I want to know which one you would snog, which one you would marry, and which one you would avoid.
Snog Faf, because he's my height. Avoid Cheslin Colby, because he's just dangerous.
Well, yeah, he'd tackle you. I say he'd do something when he'd tackle.
You wouldn't want to meet him coming down the stairs. He'd be right underneath. And I guess marry van der Merwe by default.
Oh, okay, so marry is...
There you go, follows.
I like that. Marry is not a high up on your priority list. Avoiding and snogging is.
But absolutely. Why not?
Okay. Now, while you're here, and just before we leave tonight, Julian has another take on this, which is a slightly different version of the same game. So, bearing in mind the same three players from South Africa and the Lions, Julian, would you like to tell them the new game?
It's just three slightly different words. It's not snog, marry, avoid. It's fuck, marry, or kill. He's laughing behind you going, oh, God, no.
Again, kill Colby. Fuck Faf, because he's my height.
Tom will go along with that. He thinks that's a good idea.
What was the other one?
Fuck, marry, and kill.
So I'm still marrying Van der Merwe.
Marrying a South African Scotsman.
But he's blonde, so.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's got better. But then again, so's Faf, and Faf's got better hair than you.
Faf,
most people have got better.
Faf's still a little twat, though.
Okay, what you're saying is he's a
big cock.
Yeah. No, before we go, because normally we'd leave it there, but Julian wants to say something about the Olympics, don't you, Jules?
Yeah. Congratulations, Fiji. Congratulations, New Zealand. And Ruby Tui and Joe Marler should do an interview together.
No, mate. I thought the Olympics was really good. I think Team GB is always going to suffer because it's the nations coming together and they're not used to it. Whereas New Zealand and all these people are already together, and they're going to.
And they've played really well, and some of the players have stood out, but they just got overpowered by some better teams, and that was it.
Yeah, and those other teams, I think, have better game plans as well. They control the possession.
Fiji women were fantastic. The men were amazing.
Yeah, New Zealand just controlled everything. You know, they didn't give the GB team any ball. There was always somebody there. So as soon as they did, and contact was always on their terms. So as soon as they took the contact, they could secure the ball. and for a large part, of course, GB was not competing for the ball, which is great. They've got a nice wide defence, which works really well. The problem was that they were still New Zealand was still going forward. They were still winning the shoulders. They were still going and taking a couple of meters in every single contact. So when you're 3 meters from the line and you steal 2 meters, and then you're 1 meter from the line and you steal 2 meters, there's a try. I thought they controlled the game incredibly well, and they deserve the win. GB did very, very well. Very impressed with them. Very impressed with some of the guys that were on that team. Not impressed in the slightest with the news reports about 8 people in England being offered a contract for a game of sevens. What the fuck are you doing? That's just it's incredible. To even suggest it is stupid beyond belief. So I'm really hoping that the Olympics has ignited that spark again for sevens. I really fear this time, however, that money pressures are going to stifle that both in the professional and the community game. I hope not, but that's my fear this time round, especially for our nations. I think it will ignite things overseas. I'm hoping it will lead to more and more guys and girls getting involved in places like the USA, South America, and in Africa and the Middle East as well. So all we can do, I suppose, is keep our fingers crossed and see what comes. There you go. On that philosophical bombshell, it's time to say goodnight. Thank you very much to Riley. Thank you even more so to his dad for all the things you won't see on the TV and all the little stories that he's told us about Riley that you'll never get to know until you go on tour with Riley or you come on a tour with us as Sevens referee. So from me, from Tom, from Julian, from Neil, and from Riley, it's a very good night. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next week. Good night. Bye-bye.